All right. Thank you for watching Competing in Cornfields. I'm here with Andy Avila. Is that correct?
Andy Avila, Andy Avila. Just
Avila.
don't say Avila.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Also known as DJ Aztec. Yeah. I was checking to see. Do you have any people, places, or events that you would like to kind of give a shout out?
Really, just a shout out to the listeners. People that support me by listening to my show. I've been doing it for many years, and I have some people that are new listeners. But I've also have people that have been listening for decades. So shout out to anybody that supports the show, supports the things that I do, and really that's it. That's the most important thing is the radio station. Shout out to them for allowing me to do the types of show that I do. They put no restrictions on me other than the regular regulations with
Mm-hmm.
cuss words and things like that. But other than that, they allow me to be myself and do my thing. So shout out to them.
And that's KZUM.
KZUM 89.3 FM, KZUM.org. You can listen live worldwide, or you can go to our archives and listen to the shows that we have done in the past, the last 2 weeks, and listen to them at your convenience.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do that for sure. So I guess you said you've been broadcasting for decades.
Well, I've been at KZUM for 17 years. Um, I was there for 12 years. I did a show called DJ Aztec's Clubhouse for 12 years. It was on Saturday nights from 9 to midnight. And 5 years ago, I came back to the station. I took a little hiatus, took a little break. Um, you'll hear me say it on my show. Life is crazy. Life gets a little bit strange and hectic at times. So went through that phase. Had to take a little break from the radio for a while, and so I've been back for 5 years. So 17 years total.
Wow, wow. I guess can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
As far as music goes, me as a person, I was born in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, western Nebraska, small town. Um, Moved to Lincoln, the beginning of eighth grade. Almost immediately became drawn to the hip hop scene. Early '80s is when hip hop, breakdancing, graffiti, all of that stuff was really becoming mainstream. Um, hadn't seen that before in the
Mm-hmm.
small town of Scottsbluff. So when I got here and I saw that, I became attracted to it. Next thing I knew, I was spinning on my head and spinning on my back, and um, there was a breakdance contest at the Malone Center. So I went there to participate. While I was there was a kid my age that was mixing and scratching on turntables, and I'd never seen that in person. I've seen it on TV, but I hadn't seen it in person. So that caught my attention. I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. I won the contest. I went home and I pulled my mom's record player and her records out of the closet and started my DJ career and destroying her records at the same time. So that was in the early '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was a mixing and scratching, what would be called a street DJ or a party DJ for years. Put the turntables away for a while. Um, Once again, life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, became older, had children, was engaged, just started living a grown up life. And then I just felt that call to start playing music again. And I started DJing in the dance clubs here in town. Went on a vacation to California. My sister was getting married, and when I got there, I heard a song that was being played on the radio in her car that I thought it was her CD. I said, "Where'd you get this?" It was Atomic Dog. Um, and she said, well, "This is the radio." So this isn't a CD? She said, no, they're playing it on the air. Why do you want me to change it? No, leave it, please.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was there, I listened to the style of music that they played on the radio and went to a dance club while I was there and listened to the music that they were playing there and thought, well, Lincoln needs something like that. Lincoln needs a station that'll play the old songs, the stuff that puts a smile on your face, takes you back to the good old days, but also plays the new songs. And this was in the '90s, so the newer music that was in the clubs, house music, and was the beginning of the techno creeping its way into Lincoln and stuff like that. So incorporating the old school sounds with the modern dance music in the clubs. So well, there's no station in Lincoln that's playing that, and the only station in Lincoln that would allow that is the station that I grew up on, which is KZUM. So when I was a little break dancer and rock thrower, that's a station that I used to listen to, and that's if we were downtown on a Saturday night having a b-boy breakdance battle, if we didn't have our cassettes with our own music, or if we'd heard it way too many times and didn't want to hear it anymore, we'd put it on KZUM. KZUM was the only station in town that was playing urban music, and so I thought, well, that's where I can go. I'll present a show to them, and within a week of me presenting my idea, they offered me a time slot, and just rolled it for 12 years. Had a mobile DJ service, so I've um, done the wedding receptions, done the birthday parties, just done all that extra stuff. And
where you don't exactly get to play what you would like to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The pay was nice, but I learned that I do this because I love the music and I love sharing the moment. Not about the paycheck. I've done a lot of events for free, and that's because the money will come and go, but the smile is what was important to me. Used to, when Lincoln first started having lowrider shows here, lowrider car shows, I helped promote those, helped put those together and DJ those. So just had my fingers in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I guess you mentioned Atomic Dog. Were there any, I don't know, are there any bands or groups that you would say really influenced you, like, or still do?
It's hard to really pinpoint. I'm a '70s kid, so when you grew up in the '70s, you could put it on top 40 radio station, and you'd hear Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. Then you'd hear Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then you would hear rock groups. You'd hear the Eagles. So my musical influence when I was young was just all over the place. If you listen to a show, it's called Casey Kasem's Top 40, and they played the top 40 songs in the country. It was all over the place. So I was exposed to a lot of different styles of music, the breakdancing music, electric funk, hip hop when it first came out. A lot of those things influenced me. And if you were to play my playlist, it'd probably make your eyes spin because, like, wow, look at the music this guy has on this playlist. It's all over the place. I appreciate a good song. I used to be stuck when I was a little breakdancer. I used to be stuck in, you have to listen to this kind of music and only this music. Why are you listening to Aerosmith? We're breakdancers. You're supposed to listen to Run DMC. Well, when they, came out with Aerosmith and Run DMC Walk This Way, like, that just doesn't sound right to me. But when I got older and I really started listening to music, not just the sounds and not just dancing to them, I started appreciating them for what they are, not the style of music that they are. So I appreciate a good song and a good artist, and it doesn't really matter what style of music it is. If I was stuck somewhere, if I knew you can only choose this genre of music and you're going to be stuck for a long time, you're not going to be able to listen to anything else, it would be funk. It would be funk music. It has that energy. It has a soulful sound to it. Funk music can make you happy and make you want to dance, and at the same time it can pull at your heartstrings. It's all over the place.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah, so I guess that plays into your selection process with what you choose to play. And you also create some of your own original stuff is on there.
Yeah, I'll make some. I've recorded some of my own music, and I've done remixes of songs. Um, but as far as my playlist for the week, really, I will put together the first maybe 6 songs that I'm going to start the show off with. And then after that, I do like I used to do in the club. It was just going by feel. If I play this song, how does it make me feel, and what song will go good with that?
Mm-hmm.
I like to play 2 songs of a certain style of music. So if I play a Motown song, an old R&B or soul song from the 60s and 70s, you're going to get 2 of those. And then the next 2 songs I play might be disco, or the next 2 might be funk. Um, so I really don't have a set format on my playlist. It's more just going by feel, like I did in the
Mm-hmm.
clubs when I was a DJ in the clubs. Is how's the crowd reacting? At the station, there's times I go by the phone calls. People will call in and request a song or say, "Man, I haven't heard that in forever. Thank you for playing that." So, and sometimes it's just I listen to a lot of music during the week, whether it's in the gym or just cleaning around the house. I always have music playing, and I'll hear a song that I haven't heard in years. I'm like, well, I need to play that because I know somebody else would love to hear that
Mm-hmm.
also.
Yeah. No, I get that when you hear something you haven't heard in a long time, and yeah, it makes you feel good. Do you like ABBA?
Yes,
Me too.
I do.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I like ABBA.
Me too.
That's one of
Mm.
those groups. It was when you listen to the radio in the '70s. They were popular back then. They
Mm-hmm.
were really popular.
Mm.
Now there's some songs I can't listen to because they've been played so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've DJ'd the wedding receptions and you've DJ'd the events, and people request the same songs
Yeah.
over and over, it burns you out. But yeah, that's one of those disco groups from the '70s that, yes, I like ABBA.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Uh, and like some of your shows are kind of titled like music with a purpose, or maybe that's just the message.
So what I do is on Saturday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. is my show called Back in the Day with DJ Aztec. On Wednesday from 6 to 6:30, I do a show called The Holy Ruckus. Now, on Back in the Day with DJ Aztec, I start the show off with a message. And what it is really just talk about real life events, struggles, emotions, things that we deal with,
Mm-hmm.
celebrating life, being thankful for the good times, processing the hard times, the bad times. So I'll do a little segment at the beginning of my show called The Message. And on Wednesday, I have a show called The Holy Ruckus, where that's where the music with the message is. I take that little message that I did at the beginning of Back in the Day with DJ Aztec, which is just a little 2 to 5 minute message, and it becomes a half an hour message with some songs sprinkled in there that most of them is Christian artists, um, but you don't know it. If you listen to it, you wow, I didn't know Eminem wrote this song. I didn't know Eminem was made this song. Well, it's not Eminem. It's an artist named KJ52. There's a lot of Christian artists out there that have the same sound as secular artists, but it's a positive message.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it is. My old show, uh, DJ Aztec's Clubhouse, had a lot of that style of music in it also. I'm one of those guys where I live that wild life and shouldn't be here right now. So went through the life changes and looked at the things that I was grateful for, looked at the way my life was changed, looked at what I'm supposed to do now. Because are you just grateful and you live out the rest of your days, or do you share those moments with people? And probably, you know, do your best to influence somebody else that, was someone that's going through the same struggles
Mm-hmm.
that you went through, or struggles that you never knew were out there. I feel if you're given a second chance, it's only right for you to do your best to try and help somebody else acquire a second chance. So that's where the music with the message, that's where that comes in. And that also is this. I coached wrestling and boxing worked at the lighthouse for years, and those are the reasons that I did those also. Um, I love wrestling. I started wrestling in Roosevelt Elementary School in Scottsbluff, and wrestled in Lincoln High. Wrestled for the Lincoln Warriors when I was a kid, and then I went back to coach for them. And it wasn't to show love to the sport. It wasn't to create champions. It was to be able to work on young minds.
Mm-hmm.
And when Tommy Arciaga opened up Southside Boxing Gym, also I saw that as an opportunity, and Tommy allowed me to go in and work with the kids also. And I don't have a great boxing history. I did a little bit here and a little bit there, but it wasn't about me teaching them how to be a great boxer. It was being there to help Tommy do what he does with them, but also to build those relationships with the kids and give them a voice. One of the voices that echoed in my mind for years was my wrestling coach, Tom Christie, Coach Christie at Lincoln High. And so when I decided it was time for me to do the right thing and live the right way and help others, who was it that influenced me? Who is it that was really there for me? You know, Coach could tell me, Avila, you're not going to go out and party tomorrow. You're not going to go out and party tonight. We've got a tournament coming up. You're not going to go out and party. Okay, Coach. I wouldn't go out and party.
Mm-hmm.
My parents would tell me the same thing. Sure, I'm not going to go out and party. 30 minutes later, glug, glug, glug. Out there with my friends, hammering the beers. The message was the same, but because of the respect that I had for him, I listened to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because he built a relationship with me. He treated me, whether my win-loss record was great or horrible, he treated me the same way that he did the state champions on the team. And so I took a lot of influence from that and wanted to be that for other people. And, best way to create a relationship with somebody is having that common interest. Well, with wrestling and boxing, there you go. There's two things right there. With DJing, there's another one. Music is a powerful, powerful tool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. With all that, and listening to coaches, and then even looking back, I did like basically listen to my coaches, but I could have definitely listened a bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but yeah, I definitely respected all that. Where did you come up with the DJ Aztec?
When I first started DJing, I didn't have a DJ name. When I started doing the clubs, and when I went to California and experienced the club scene there, I realized the popular DJs had a name.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I got to come up with something. One night, a friend of mine was talking to me, and he said, "What's the name? What you got? This weekend's coming up. They got the board. They want to put your name on there. What is it going to be?" And I said, "I haven't come up with anything yet." He said, "Well, you're Mexican. Why don't you come up with something that you're proud of, something to celebrate your heritage?" And when he said that, it reminded me of a conversation I had with my grandfather. His name was Francisco Avila in Scottsbluff. When I was still young and I lived there, he died when I was 17, but when I still lived there, before we moved here, he sat me down on a bench. He was an old farmer, and he was messing with some corn, and I thought, oh man, he's going to make me do some work. He was twisting the corn and getting the dry kernels off of the cob. And I thought, because that's what he'd do. If you showed up at the farm, he made you work. So I thought, well, here it goes. Time to go to work. And he didn't. He just sat me down. And it's the only time he'd ever done this. And he said, "Mijo, remember something. You are Azteca." And I was like, "What?" He was, "You're Aztec. You're Aztec Indian." And I was young. They didn't teach us about that in class.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I'm Mexican. I'm not Indian. He said, "No, you're Aztec Indian." No, I'm Mexican. He said, "Just remember, someday it'll make sense to you." I said, "Okay." Well, when my friend mentioned, "Well, you're Mexican, celebrate your heritage," that's the first thing that popped in my head. I swear I heard my grandpa's voice, and "You're Aztec." So there it is. And it's stuck ever since. There's some people that don't even know my real name; they just know me by that.
That's cool.
But it's Andy Avila or Avila, not Avila.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that's crazy. How did you all end up in Scottsbluff?
My dad was a truck driver.
Oh, okay.
The place that he worked at in Scottsbluff shut down. So he went to Cheyenne, got a job there for a while, and then it got to the point where he was still there, we were still in Scottsbluff, and we had to make the move either to Cheyenne or to Lincoln, and we had family here.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have family in Cheyenne, and we ended up here, and I'm glad this is where we ended up instead of Cheyenne.
For sure. Did you work for Creek Carrier?
No, he worked for Consolidated Freight.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I worked for Creek Carrier. That's check-in. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you said wrestling and boxing and all that. And then yeah, so you're on Wednesdays and Sundays and Wednesdays?
Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Saturdays from 7 to 9 p.m. KZUM 89.3 FM here locally. Worldwide, you can listen to it, kzum.org. If you can't catch it, the live broadcast, you can do a replay, kzum.org. Go to archives, scroll through the little thing until you find the show Back in the Day with DJ Aztec or The Holy Ruckus, and you can listen to those two shows at your convenience. So Back in the Day with DJ Aztec, Saturday night, 7 to 9 p.m. The Holy Ruckus, Wednesdays from 6 to 6:30.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got the link too, and I'm gonna start digging into it some more. And so yeah, definitely anybody let me know as well, and we'll get it all together. You got anything else?
No, just thank you for this opportunity to let people know what I'm doing, how long I've been doing it, and why. Why I've been doing it is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it for fame and fortune. I do it because I like putting a smile on people's face, and old songs put a smile on people's face, but also trying to encourage people. It's a crazy world right now, and on your best day, there's still a struggle.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you were to look at like any media platform, a lot of times it's just negativity, and because a lot of times that's what sells, I guess, or
yeah,
freak people out, and you know what I mean.
Gloom and doom.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, well, definitely thanks a lot, Andy.
Thank you.
We'll have to get together again sometime, and all good.
Definitely get you into the station sometime.
Yeah, hey, that'd be cool. That'd be great. Thank you.